Here's a secret Hollywood hoped you'd never discover. The toughest actors on screen were often even tougher off-screen. I'm about to reveal the truth. You might think, come on, those action stars are just playing tough, right? But believe it or not, one actor's story is so outrageous that studios buried it because they thought you'd dismiss it as fake, and it's not even the top one on our list. These actors' stories are about toughness, courage, and resilience that will inspire you. I know you enjoy those classic films, cheering for the heroes and fighters, the unstoppable characters. Trust me, I feel the same way. That's why this video will blow your mind with the real-life stories of the 10 toughest actors in Hollywood history, men who lived lives crazier than the roles they played. Stick around because, by the end, you'll learn secrets that will change how you see your favorite stars forever. These are stories and real-life experiences that shaped the characters you love. Number 1. The toughest men behind the movies. Let's start with the man who might be the toughest actor Hollywood has ever seen. A real-life hero whose actions make action movies look like child's play. Audie Murphy. When you think of tough guys, you might picture big burly stars like John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. But Audie was different. Standing at just 5'5", with a baby face that looked almost innocent. Directors often didn't know how to utilize him. But don't be deceived by his appearance. He was a walking, talking war machine, starkly contrasting his boyish looks. Before stepping in front of a camera, Audie Murphy was the most decorated American soldier of World War II. At just 19 years old, he single-handedly held off an entire company of German soldiers for an hour in France, and then led a counterattack while wounded and out of ammunition. For that incredible bravery, he received the Medal of Honor, the highest military award in the US. But that's just one example. Audie earned 28 medals before age 21, including 5 from France and Belgium. He took out tanks, charged machine gun nests alone, and kept fighting despite being shot 3 times. Military historians estimate that he killed between 240 and 300 enemy soldiers, more than some entire units. Audie's Hollywood journey began when his face appeared on the cover of Life magazine. However, producers hesitated to cast him as a tough guy because of his sweet appearance. When he showed up for his first screen test, security guards mistook him for a lost kid, not the war hero he was. But Audie proved them wrong, especially in his film To Hell and Back, where he played himself, reenacting his battlefield heroics. Some of his true feats had to be toned down because producers thought they were too far-fetched for audiences to believe. Imagine being so tough that your real story sounds unbelievable. Audie's toughness extended beyond the battlefield. He struggled with severe PTSD after the war, often sleeping with a loaded gun under his pillow and waking from nightmares ready to fight. His wife once remarked, "In public, he was shy and gentle, but in those nightmares, he was a hardened killer. It scared me." This aspect of Audie's life illustrates that their experiences can profoundly affect even the toughest individuals. Number 2. Charles Bronson. Before he became the brutal vigilante in Death Wish, Charles Bronson faced a difficult life. He was born into a poor coal mining family in Pennsylvania and was one of 15 children. By age 10, he worked in the mines, inhaling underground coal dust. He once said, "I was raised in violent neighborhoods and saw killing up close. We lived with death, starvation, and misery." These hardships shaped his weathered face and stern demeanor. Bronson served in World War II, flying 25 combat missions as a B-29 gunner. He earned a Purple Heart for injuries sustained in battle. His friends described him as calm under pressure, the kind of person you wanted beside you when danger struck. After the war, he held over 50 jobs, including onion picker, cook, and boxer, to make ends meet before he began acting. Bronson didn't just perform stunts, he fought for real. His punches looked genuine because he had experienced real fights. Co-star Jan Michael Vincent said, "During a scene, he grabbed my shirt, and I felt this insane strength in his hands. This wasn't an actor. This was power from years of hard labor." When the mafia threatened his life after Death Wish, Bronson shrugged it off, saying, "I've been through too much to worry about that." Number 3. Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin wasn't just an actor who played scary characters, he was terrifying. Before he became a Hollywood star, he served as a Marine in World War II and fought in brutal battles in the Pacific. He got shot in the leg at Saipan, which left him with a limp that he hid throughout his career. He received a Purple Heart, but Lee kept it honest. Unlike some actors exaggerating their war stories. He said, "I was a sniper in the Pacific. I got shot in the ass and sent home. Anyone who says they enjoyed combat is either lying or crazy." This honesty made his violent performances, like in The Dirty Dozen, feel very real. Director John Borman noted, Lee knew violence in a way most actors never will. He'd seen men kill and be killed, and it showed. Off-screen, Lee was equally challenging. While filming in Oregon, he fought off a team of younger lumberjacks in a bar until the police arrived. The next day, he returned to the set, bruised but unfazed. Co-star James Coburn said, when Lee walked in, everyone straightened up. There was something dangerous about him you couldn't ignore. Number 4. Steve McQueen's jaw-dropping secret. Here's the moment you've been waiting for. The incredible secret about number 4, Steve McQueen, that Hollywood tried to bury. Steve wasn't just a cool guy on screen. He was a real-life badass so wild that studios thought his story was too much. He raced against professionals with a broken foot, saved lives in the Arctic, faced down the Manson family with a loaded gun, and performed stunts that terrified directors. Steve's life was a blockbuster in its own right. But here's the kicker. Studios hid these incredible details because they believed audiences would think, no way, that's fake. Imagine being so tough that your real story sounds like a lie. That was Steve McQueen, the king of cool, but also the king of real danger, and the secret Hollywood couldn't handle. Before becoming a star, Steve's life was a roller coaster of danger. As a kid, he ran away from home at 14 to escape abuse and joined the Marines, where he was demoted 7 times for going AWOL, but still managed to save 5 men when their tank fell through ice in the Arctic. After his military service, he worked as a lumberjack, oil rigger, and carnival barker. But his true passion was racing, motorcycles, cars, you name it. Steve didn't race just for fun. He competed against pros, even finishing second in the 1970 Sebring race with a broken foot. He performed his stunts on set, from motorcycle chases in The Great Escape to fire stunts in The Towering Inferno. Director John Sturges remarked, the problem wasn't getting Steve to do dangerous stunts, it was stopping him from doing ones that could kill him. When the Manson family put him on their hit list, Steve didn't hire bodyguards. Instead, he carried a loaded gun everywhere, ready to take matters into his own hands. Steve's story is so incredible that studios thought it would sound made up. But this guy was the real deal. Number 5. Kirk Douglas. Before becoming a Hollywood legend, Kirk Douglas grew up in extreme poverty, often resulting in hunger for his family. As a child, he was born to Jewish immigrants and sold snacks to mill workers. He became a college wrestler and earned a scholarship through his strength. During World War II, he served on a Navy submarine chaser and faced constant danger. On film sets, Kirk was known for his determination. He trained with ex-gladiators for Spartacus, did dangerous stunts, and returned to work just days after getting injured. Director Stanley Kubrick praised him, saying, Kirk was a force of nature. His physical strength was impressive, but his mental toughness was scary. In his 70s, Kirk survived a helicopter crash that killed 2 people. After a stroke that affected his speech, he fought back and wrote a book about his recovery. His co-star Burt Lancaster said, Kirk attacks a scene like a fight. You could see he'd fought his way through life. Number 6. James Cagney. Don't be fooled by his 5'5" height. James Cagney was a tough street fighter who became a Hollywood star. He grew up on New York's rough Lower East Side and learned to box to stay safe, even becoming an amateur champion with fast hands. In movies like The Public Enemy, his fight scenes were quick and realistic because he had been in many real fights. Director Raoul Walsh said, Jimmy knew how to throw a punch better than any actor because he'd thrown plenty in real life. Off-screen, Cagney had a reputation as someone you didn't want to mess with. Bob Hope once joked, if you tried something funny with Jimmy, he'd drop you, then help you up and dust you off. Number 7. John Wayne. The Duke was more than just a Hollywood tough guy. He was the real thing. Before he became an actor, he played football at USC and then worked as a prop man, lifting heavy set pieces by himself. On set, he performed his stunts, including a dangerous horse fall in The Alamo that broke his ribs, but he kept filming. Director John Ford noted that Duke worked 14-hour days in hot desert conditions, making half the crew sick, and he kept going. Even after being diagnosed with lung cancer, Wayne insisted on doing his stunts, refusing to use stunt doubles. Co-star Max von Sydow said he saw Wayne injure himself badly, but Wayne just bandaged up and continued. It was not in his nature to stop. Number 8. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum's calm demeanor was genuine. He had faced real danger. As a hobo during the Great Depression, he rode trains, worked as a ditch digger, coal miner, and boxer, and even spent time on a chain gang in Georgia after being arrested for vagrancy. On set, Mitchum demonstrated incredible strength. Director Charles Lawton was surprised to see him carry Shelley Winters for many takes without tiring. When he was arrested for marijuana in 1948, a scandal that could have ruined his career, Mitchum served 60 days in prison without a fuss and came out even tougher. Director Edward Dmytryk noted, "Bob never had to prove how tough he was. Everyone could sense it." Number 9. Anthony Quinn. Anthony Quinn grew up in poverty and worked hard in Mexico and Los Angeles. He worked as a butcher's assistant, boxer, and construction worker. On movie sets, he did amazing stunts. For example, in Zorba the Greek, he carried heavy logs that usually needed 2 people, and at 46, he climbed cliffs in The Guns of Navarone. Director Elia Kazan said, "Tony's power came from real labor, not gym workouts. When he played a fighter, he was remembering, not pretending." Co-star Sophia Loren said, "Anthony had the body of a warrior and the soul of a poet." Number 10. Charlton Heston. Before becoming a famous actor, Charlton Heston was an aerial gunner during World War II, facing danger at 15,000 feet. On set, he did daring stunts, such as driving chariots in Ben-Hur and painting the Sistine Chapel ceiling in The Agony and the Ecstasy. These stunts caused him muscle pain, but he continued to perform them. Director William Wyler praised Heston's bravery. Chuck's physical courage was remarkable. Most stars would have used doubles. Off-screen, Heston also showed courage. He marched with Martin Luther King Jr. and stood up for his beliefs, no matter the consequences. The secrets. Hollywood often hid certain truths about its stars for various reasons. For example, Audie Murphy had a young appearance, and directors thought audiences wouldn't believe a boyish-looking actor could be a war hero, even though he was truly one of the deadliest. Charles Bronson's intense fighting scared both co-stars and studio executives. Lee Marvin had harsh war stories that clashed with Hollywood's polished image. Steve McQueen led a daredevil lifestyle that raised public relations concerns. He seemed too wild and risky. Hollywood also downplayed the strengths of other stars. Kirk Douglas was strong, James Cagney was street smart, John Wayne was tough, Robert Mitchum was cool, Anthony Quinn worked hard, and Charlton Heston was brave. Studios worried that audiences wouldn't accept these real-life stories. In reality, these hidden truths made them legends. They were not just actors playing challenging roles. They were men who lived through extraordinary experiences. The legacy of Hollywood's toughest. So what's the main takeaway? These 10 actors didn't just portray tough characters. They exhibited courage, strength, and grit on screen. From Audie Murphy's war heroics to Steve McQueen's daredevil stunts, they demonstrated what it means to be a real man, not just a movie star. Their stories remind us that sometimes, the toughest individuals aren't the loudest or the biggest, but those who have faced adversity and emerged stronger. Perhaps this serves as a lesson for us all. Life can be challenging, but so can we if we dig deep. Want more Hollywood secrets? Click the video on your screen right now.